Water, it's the most abundant compound on the earth. We need it not only to survive, but in Minnesota, the lakes and rivers are where we thrive.
We love the water. I think these lakes are such a gem.
Dangers, some you can see and some that are hidden, threaten to destroy our waterways every day.
Can't even see it, it's microscopic, and that's why you're so worried about water.
Meet the people who fight for water quality.
We really do want to take care of it.
See what they do to protect the places we love.
We're working on all fronts.
To fish, you have to have water, and you have to have clean water.
And learn what you can do too.
If we don't keep it clean, it wouldn't be much of a lake at all.
In our 12 News special report, Focus on Water. Hello everyone, I'm Mike Johnson, and this holiday weekend we are focused on water.
I'm Alexandra Renslow, and whether you realize it or not, every day our lives revolve around water.
And today we focus on lakes and rivers, what they mean to us and how we use them. Reporter Shannon Slatton explains how water is an important part of every Minnesota summer.
My kids always, every day, can we go to the beach, can we go to the beach? They just love it here.
Take sunshine and hot weather.
We like coming out here because it wears him out.
Just add water.
Well, it's fun to like swim in it.
And you have a Minnesota summer.
Going to the cabin.
Memories wouldn't be the same in our state.
We love the water, we love the proximity to the lakes.
Without the lakes and rivers.
It's like fun to swim and catch like fish in the summer.
Where we spend our free time.
There's gotta be something Zen-like about water.
Carolyn Halber wanted her family to love the lake like she does.
I think everybody who lives in Minnesota is lucky to be here. I think these lakes are such a gem.
So 20 years ago, she moved her family into a home on Fish Lake.
We wanted to find something where they could enjoy recreation. We could all be together. They could have their friends over, and we could have fun without putting a lot of miles on the car and driving somewhere.
For most Minnesotans, the lakes are for fun.
You really can't talk about the history of Minnesota without talking about water.
But historically, waterways were highways, providing the fastest way to transport people and goods.
If you're going to get anywhere, if you're going to move anything, if you're going to try to transport trade goods, water is key.
So many of our cities were founded by water.
That's how you got here, that's how you left, that's how you got your trade goods out, that's how you got supplies in. It was essential.
But water is more important than that.
We really need to start treating our lakes and our rivers like they're our drinking water supplies, because in many instances they are.
Water sustains not only our body, but the food we put in it.
You can get by without a lot of things in life, but you can't get by without water.
Everyday citizens are charged with taking care of our water.
We'd like to see it as pristine as it is, or better, for our children and for their children.
Ensuring any life full of Minnesota summers won't dry up.
If we don't keep it clean, it wouldn't be much of a lake at all.
On the lake, Shannon Slatton, 12 News.
And there's an army of people who work every day to keep area lakes and rivers clean. Much of the work is completely a volunteer effort. Like this event, the newly formed Lower Twin Lake Association picking up trash along the banks surrounding the Robbinsdale Lake. Next, the association will tackle cleaning out what's in the lake. Last summer, homeowners say the weeds were so bad, boats could not get through some areas.
And it really became almost impassable for boaters. In fact, a couple people joked last summer that you could almost walk across Lower Twin.
We care that it's clean and it's healthy and that we have a good fish population and that it'll be maintained for generations to come.
Cities, the DNR, the local watershed district, and homeowners all share responsibility for keeping lakes clean.
Groups of lake enthusiasts can also band together and push for change. One of the issues concerning some citizens around Medicine Lake is the lake level. They would like more studies done on the dam where Bassett Creek flows out of Medicine Lake. Right now the water is high, but some lake residents want a movable dam to help keep water in the lake during those dry summer months.
Something that's controllable and that will, again, keep more water in the lake for a little longer during the summer recreation season so that everyone, boaters, walkers, everyone can enjoy the lake a little more than they can now.
A recent online survey says people living in the Bassett Creek watershed want more to be done to improve the quality of the water. The Bassett Creek watershed is a 40 square mile area from Plymouth to the Mississippi River. There's concern that increasing development is diminishing water quality. Water Management Commission will prioritize issues and solutions.
The hard surfaces that we drive on, our roofs, sidewalks, asphalt for the parking lots, you know, all of that stuff generates a lot more water today, much more quickly than it ever did.
Recently, Hennepin County approved a special $1 million tax levy for property owners in the Bassett Creek watershed area. It will pay for 3 water quality improvement projects in Golden Valley. And some cities are rediscovering the value of waterfront property.
It happened years ago in Minneapolis with the redevelopment of businesses along the Mississippi River. Now, Brooklyn Center is working to bring a forgotten waterway to light. On a beautiful sunny day, it's the allure of the water that draws a crowd to this outdoor patio and bar at Psycho Susie's in northeast Minneapolis.
It's great to enjoy, be on the water, and have the breeze flowing in.
When you can get outside, get some sun, some fresh air, see the water, watch the activity, it's kind of like a mini vacation.
This popular restaurant moved here 3 years ago, securing a coveted spot along the Mississippi River, and business followed.
I think that the river is obviously a huge benefit to what Psycho Susie's has going for ourselves. We were able to add a second-story patio just this past spring, and we were able to really grow into a larger business and to support the Northeast community.
Farther north in Brooklyn Center, it's Shingle Creek that Mayor Tim Wilson hopes will someday draw a crowd.
Sit-down restaurants, you know, places where people can congregate, where community can congregate.
It's all part of a $100 million redevelopment project at Shingle Creek Crossing, the site of the former Brookdale Mall.
Right now, we're standing in a spot that used to be pavement. I mean, it was all blacktop here. You had no idea the creek was underneath it.
Once paved over for a mall parking lot in the 1960s, Shingle Creek has now been brought back into the light with the regional trail system running alongside it and the retail development project around it about 40% complete.
The city wants to bring at least 4 restaurants along Shingle Creek here. Ideally, this whole development will be completed by 2016.
With all the development that has happened here and all the development that's planned here, this is going to be a destination point.
There are still parts of Shingle Creek left to uncover, and as more water flows, the idea is that business and customers will follow.
It's going to be great, I think, in a few years to see what this becomes.
When the Shingle Creek Crossing development is complete, it's estimated that it will bring in more than 5,000 new jobs. There's a new way to spot zebra mussels, and you might be surprised to learn what it is.
We're going to direct most of their use towards high infested waters.
But first, this unwanted guest eats too much and stays too long. We'll show you what's being done at the Coon Rapids Dam to let Asian carp know they aren't welcome here. You're watching a 12 News special, Focus on Water. You might not know it, but parts of Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center are home to a national park.
The Mississippi River borders our area, which brings many recreational activities to our back door. There's recent good news about the river, too. A report from the National Park Service and Friends of the Mississippi River say the river is the cleanest it's been in decades. Experts say you only have to look around to notice a dramatic difference.
If we came out here in 1926, the fish survey done at that time would have found 2 living fish in this river, all the way from Hastings up to the St. Anthony Falls Lock and Dam. And today we see a river that's brimming with life. It's got fish. Bald eagles have returned to the river. Mussel populations have returned to the river, so we've made dramatic progress just in the last few decades.
But the river is always changing, so now the focus is on controlling invasive species as well as sediment from runoff. As the Coon Rapids Dam turns 100 years old, it's being called on for a new job.
When it was built in 1914, the dam provided electric power for Anoka and part of Hennepin County. But now engineers say it will play a big role in protecting the state's favorite fishing spots from fish that shouldn't be there. A huge hammer pounds a beam into the Mississippi River as part of a $16 million effort to repair the aging Coon Rapids Dam and improve its ability to keep unwanted carp from moving into Minnesota's northern lake country.
First walleye of the day today, of the year.
Yeng fishes near the dam often, and while today's catch included a carp, it's not the kind that fishermen and biologists fear is moving north. Flying silver carp like these, weighing up to 60 pounds, have been caught in the Mississippi as far north as Winona. This video was taken in Illinois.
They're big fish, they're voracious, and they feed at the lowest part of the food chain. So we're very concerned about the impact they could have here on our native fish species.
They eat huge amounts of plankton, putting them in competition with sport fishing favorites like walleye and northern pike.
Watching how they took over the river already and the other parts, it's pretty bad already. How they just take over and eat everything and all the other fish die, so I'm hoping they don't get up here.
If they did, engineers say the dam could serve as a barrier once it's brought up to date.
I think it's worth it because this river impacts too many other parts of all states.
Right now, at least 2 floodgates have to be open all the way to keep the river flowing, and that could allow unwanted fish to make the leap upriver.
It's easier for them to reach that barrier when the gates are fully open, so we want to keep them as closed as we can all the time, while still letting the flow through.
The 2-year project will replace the gates so several can be open only part way, making it tougher for those fish, but not impossible.
There are certain ice conditions in the springtime when the ice jams occur that we know it's not going to be 100% a barrier.
So far, there's no evidence of large numbers of Asian carp here, but that could be a matter of time.
I don't think we can assume we have a lot of time. Nobody really knows for sure how long it's going to take them to swim up here in numbers and actually colonize our stretch of the river and start to reproduce.
Another barrier downstream could be closing a lock in Minneapolis. That's being considered in Congress. And another idea is using low voltage electric current in Minneapolis to hold back unwanted fish. The technology is still being developed. Well, Asian carp aren't the only invasive species causing a headache in our waters. Up next, we take a look at the fight against zebra mussels.
And then a call to action, what you can do in your own yard to protect our waterways.
There's a new way to sniff out zebra mussels, and we mean that literally. This year, the Department of Natural Resources is using 3 zebra mussel sniffing dogs. The DNR says the dogs are faster than humans in finding zebra mussels on boats. They're being used to monitor boat lifts, docks, and boats going in and out of the water. When the dog smells zebra mussels, it will sit down.
And that will tell the handler, hey, here's the zebra mussels. And then that will direct the human as far as where to actually look for those zebra mussels if they're not readily apparent, if they're stuck in a crevice somewhere or whatnot.
Minnesota is the 2nd state in the country to use dogs to sniff out an invasive species. Boats are often the way invasive species hitchhike from one lake to another.
Delane Cleveland explains what to look for on your boat and when you take it in and out of the water.
For many Minnesotans, taking a boat out on the lake is both a joy and a privilege.
We've all got the privilege of using these lakes.
That's exactly what brings people to Grays Bay Marina in Minnetonka. But with that privilege comes a great responsibility. Just ask the DNR.
We want you to clean your boat of all aquatic plants and zebra mussels and other invasive species.
To help people accomplish that task, the DNR has inspectors stationed at high-use public waters this summer that are infested with zebra mussels, such as Lake Minnetonka.
Those inspectors are going to be there to help inspect watercraft to make sure that the laws have been followed.
However, the idea is that people will learn how to inspect their own watercraft, which means checking literally every inch, both for vegetation and the presence of zebra mussels.
A baby zebra mussel could be literally like a grain of sand. And so they're tiny. They're really small at that first stage.
In fact, they're microscopic, which is why they say people also need to drain their boats and pump their ballast tanks.
You're always going to need to budget the time Again, to fulfill your personal responsibility to make sure your watercraft is clean.
If an inspection does turn up invasive species, boats will have to undergo a decontamination process in which they heat water to 160 degrees and use high pressure to spray it inside and out.
Again, it's illegal to transport them, so they need to come off. You need to scrape those off or have it professionally cleaned.
The DNR knows that there's still a ways to go before they get to 100% compliance, but they're doing what they can to help make Minnesota's waters a cleaner place.
The word is getting out even to the non-boating community of how important this is.
In Minnetonka, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
When we return, what you can do for water quality in your very own front yard.
A call to action when 12 News Focus on Water continues.
No matter where you live, scientists say everyone has waterfront property.
When it rains, stormwater washes off your yard, down the street, and into the water supply. So here's what you can do in your yard to reduce runoff and protect the water. Use a rain barrel to collect and then reuse rainwater on your plants and lawn. Don't rake grass clippings or leaves into the street. They can end up in lakes and rivers. Instead, recycle them. Make sure you scoop up and dispose of pet waste properly. Use chemicals like herbicides or pesticides wisely, and be smart when you apply fertilizer to your lawn or other plants.
The state did pass a law a few years ago where most of our fertilizers are now phosphorus-free. That helps prevent algae growth in rivers and lakes, but remembering to sweep up anything that falls onto streets or pavement so it doesn't wash in is also a good idea.
There's another reason to make sure your yard looks good. The healthier your grass, the less it needs to be watered, maintained, or sprayed with chemicals.
Building a rain garden in your yard is something you can do for water quality, and reporter Sonia Goins explains it's not as hard as you might think to build one.
You want it to stay on the land because Mother Nature will clean it.
Whenever you get a lot of rain, look around your yard. If you see water pooling, that's where you should plant a rain garden.
The purpose of having a rain garden is to have the water stay on your land. We want Mother Nature to infiltrate it, clean it, if you will.
When Heidi HEILAND wanted to plant a rain garden,
Blue Star is its common name,
she filled it with native plants.
This is a wonderful addition to a rain garden.
The plants soak up the water and purify it.
You want to make sure that they're moisture lovers, but then maybe they dry out for a long time too. So they've got to have long tap roots.
Just like with every part of your garden,
rain gardens don't have to be a divot in your yard.
Think about designs when you choose your plants.
They don't have to look messy. It's how you put in the plants and you lay them out. So if you put in a nice big shrub, it takes up more room than, say, you know, a couple of rudbeckias, a couple of coneflower plants.
And fill your rain garden with native plants you love.
Isn't it gorgeous?
In Plymouth, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
Thanks so much for joining us for Focus on Water. Enjoy the holiday weekend.
We're hoping you find some time to enjoy your favorite lake. We'll see you next time.